How y'all doing? I'm Brandon Malone with Voodoo Forge, and you need an anvil. Now, I'm a blacksmith, so I use anvils every day in my work to earn a living. But through the years, I've come to realize that an anvil is such an important tool that pretty much every household, every home shop should have one. Now I'm gonna show you a London pattern anvil like I use blacksmithing every day, which is what probably when you think of an anvil you think of. It looks just like the ones that the coyote so terribly tried to drop on the Roadrunner so many times. But that's not the only thing that can be used for an anvil out there. As a matter of fact, that's a relatively new design in the world of anvils. An anvil is essentially an object that you put another object on and hit with another object to shape it. The first anvils were stones, but I'm not going to be showing you any stones, but I'm going to be showing you some alternative anvils that anybody should be able to find fairly inexpensively and have them in their home shop, be it a farm workshop or a wood shop or just a garden shed. These are things that everybody could use when they're working around their place. Okay, now this is a London pattern anvil. I'm not going to talk about this a lot, I just wanted to show it to you. This is what everybody idealizes when they think of an anvil. They put them in movies, of course, pop culture, but this isn't what we're talking about today. We're talking about alternative anvils. So let's look at some of those. Okay, now here's a few things that aren't perfect anvils and aren't ideal anvils if you're blacksmithing, but you can use them to do some light projects in your home shop. Not necessarily blacksmithing projects. Like I wouldn't use the anvil on the back of a machinist vise to do blacksmithing on, but just your home shop around the homestead or farm. You know, if you need to straighten out a nail from your grandpa's bucket of rusty nails, that's perfect for doing that. Mostly like banging bolts and stuff like that that need a little tap to get loosened. That's mostly what the back of a vise gets used for. I've got a buddy who started blacksmithing, and I think eventually Tractor Supply told him not to bring back any more broken vices for exchange, because if you beat on bench vices you will break them. But if you just little farm chores and things like that, that'll work just fine for. Now, this is a piece of 4-inch square stock, about 16 inches long, and I use it pretty regular. Usually I sit it on the floor, long ways, with the small end up, sit in a chair, and when I've got a whole bunch of things that need to be center punched, I can sit there and leisurely center punch them on that. Also, it's got nice sharp corners, so I've had more than one smith in the shop, more smiths than there are actual London style anvils in the shop, and I've had somebody using this to make leaves on, or at least the start of the leaf, and it worked great for that. So it's just a chunk of mild steel. Now in the back there is what is come to be known as an ASO, which is an anvil shaped object, and these are cast iron, and it looks like what everybody thinks an anvil should look like, but it's not. They chip. This one came my way in a trade, and my 9-year-old daughter, this is her anvil in the shop. We set it up on something, and she bangs around on it when she's in here. But it's not for heavy use. It has a hardy hull. It's very rough casting. Anytime you see letters that come out like this as opposed to go in, it's cast iron, and it's not going to be a good anvil. Now you can use these in a pinch. They will break, they will chip. I would recommend just a block of steel over one of these, but it is an alternative to an anvil. As far as like if you just have something for not blacksmithing, it might last you years. Blacksmithing, It's not going to last real long at all. But this one just happens to be American made, but there's really no difference between it and the ones from Red China that they have at like Harbor Freight or Northern Tool. Except this one is seeped in freedom instead of communism. So there's that. But moving on. Now right here, you can't talk about alternative anvils unless you talk about railroad track. It's a rule. Now, this piece of railroad track was my dad's piece of railroad track. The whole time growing up on the farm, if he needed something straightened out, he needed an anvil for anything, this is what he used. And it was cut with a torch, real rough. I think the other side, yeah, the other side's cut with a torch too. But I mean, that was his go-to chunk of steel to anvil on. I'm not an expert on railroad track, but I hadn't seen this size railroad track in a long time. Now this is modern railroad track. This came from where they were working on the tracks down the road a few years ago. I stopped and was like, "Hey, can I have some of that?" And they let me have several pieces. But it's taller. I've got some bigger pieces, but this piece, okay, if you have a piece of railroad track, don't limit yourself to using it like this. Okay, you can lay it over, and you've got a good surface right there for small straightening projects, or even quite a bit of small blacksmithing projects. There's a lot of things you can do on that surface right there. So don't limit yourself to how you use it, but you want to get as much mass under what you're hitting as possible. So there's that. Now, this is the super rare Scrapyard find anvil. I'm constantly hearing people tell people to look for anvils in scrapyards, and then I'm constantly hearing people say, "I can't find an anvil in a scrapyard." I've found two in scrapyards, but I do spend quite a bit of time in scrapyards. This is, I believe, a colonial pattern mouse hole. It was originally 123 pounds, but the horn's broken off. It has no pritchel hole, so it's, I think, I'm not an expert on anvil ages, but I believe that makes it before 1830. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong and you know it, correct me in the comments. But since it's old enough, it's like required, since we're in the South, that I tell you that the horn was broken off by Billy the Torch's march through Georgia when he was breaking the horns off all the anvils, which it's old enough. I guess that could be the case, but more than likely a overzealous apprentice with a sledgehammer broke the horn off. But if you've just got a farm, this is perfect. This will last you forever. And if for a starting blacksmith, aspiring blacksmith, it would work just fine. And yeah, I know it doesn't have a horn, but if you want to be a blacksmith, you can always forge a brick to go into the hardy. You can do a lot of the horn stuff on there. So keep that in mind. That's forged out of a jackhammer bit. Now the next thing we've got here, picked this up not too long ago. I've got several sledgehammers, but I was at the scrapyard and there was this, I think it's a 12-pounder. But I like the straight peen shape, and I got it, and I think I'm gonna set it in a stump and actually do some blacksmithing on it, use it as an anvil, just kind of for fun. And just, I'll video it and show y'all the results. But you can take a sledgehammer and bury it in a stump like that. You can bury it in a stump like that. You can set it in there like that. You know, just heat it and push it in, or carve out a spot for it and use it as an anvil. And now sledgehammers, if you go to a scrapyard and you can't find a sledgehammer head, you're not looking. 8-pound heads are everywhere at every scrapyard I've ever been to, and they cost next to nothing. So a sledgehammer is not just for pounding. And one with the handle, you can set it down on your workbench and use it as an anvil. Set it down on the stump, use it as an anvil. So there's another alternative. Last is this little guy. It's a piece of 3-inch round stock, just a little chunk of it. This actually stays with some of my smaller stuff I work on, just if I need to stamp something or something along those lines. But something that size, maybe a little longer, would work fine for guys making knives or anything, jewelry, anything like that. So just remember, it doesn't have to look like what you think an anvil should look like to be an anvil. Well, y'all, I hope that gives you some ideas on some alternatives to a London pattern anvil for your situation, whatever that may be. Of course, always keep your eye out for a good London pattern anvil. They are just, I can't imagine keeping house without one. So just always keep your eye out for them. If you can find one at a good price, jump on it. But anyway, I'll probably be doing a video later about the anvils that I use every day and the tools that go with them and all the pieces and everything. But this is just alternative anvils that are or should be available to anyone out there. So anyway, if you have any questions, post it in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. And if you'd like to see more like it, hit the subscribe button. All right, now y'all behave yourselves.